As you attend your first college classes, you may be intimidated by the kind of notes you need to take to be academically successful. Note-taking is generally not taught in high school. Therefore, it's important to learn a systematic, effective way to manage all the information presented in lectures and in your reading. This is an introduction to the Cornell note-taking system that was developed by a professor at Cornell University in the 1950s. Since that time, the system has become so popular on college campuses that templates can be found on Microsoft Office Word. So why should you use the Cornell note-taking system? Well, first, it helps you keep your notes organized. This saves time when you need to revise and review your notes later. Second, it allows you to find the most essential information easily. Third, it focuses on the most important concepts of the lecture. Fourth, it is efficient and systematic, and the great thing about the Cornell note-taking system is that it can be easily adapted for any class or subject. Finally, as I've mentioned before, there are templates on Microsoft Office Word if you don't want to create your own. Here is an example of the Cornell note-taking system on regular note paper. The only thing you would need to add is a summary of the lecture or reading. There are some real advantages of using a systematic method like the Cornell system. First, effective note-taking has been proven to cut study time in half, and it's also an extremely effective memory tool. So how do you take Cornell notes? Well, the way you take Cornell notes is that during a lecture or reading session, you simply take the notes in the right-hand column, leaving the left-hand column blank, either after you've finished all of your notes or a section of notes, and then you add cues in the left-hand column. After you've written your cues, you write a short summary of the lecture or the reading assignment at the bottom of the page. If you feel a summary isn't applicable to the type of notes you're taking, you can use the main points or questions that you have about the material. The most important thing is that you stay active in the process and make connections as you go. Many students also use Cornell note-taking when reviewing for tests. Just cover up the blank sheet of paper on the right-hand side and look at the cues, and test yourself to see how much of the notes you remember. You can switch it up and cover the cues while reviewing in the right-hand corner. What are cues? Cues are really important in the Cornell note-taking system because they give meaning to the process. Cues can be questions that help you memorize main points, or they could be test questions. Category cues are great for grouped information that requires a label. Naturally, you'll have new vocabulary words to learn that are essential to understanding the material presented in class. Finally, use the cue section to make notes if the professor indicates a particular portion of your notes will be on the test. These are some examples of the Cornell note-taking system that can be downloaded from Microsoft Office Word. Some of the templates even have detailed instructions. This is the landscape version of the Cornell note-taking system that has specific directions not only for taking notes, but for reviewing your notes later. Getting the templates from Word is fairly simple. Just open Word, select File, select New. In the template search box, type Cornell, and then several templates will appear. Select the template you want to use, download it, and it will open in Word. Finally, I have a few tips for taking notes in general. Use an outline form and don't try to write down everything your professor says. First, that would be impossible, and second, it clutters your notes and your thoughts. Second, do write down charts or figures your instructor draws or displays. Highlight keywords or phrases. Don't color, highlight only. This can be done during the lecture if you have time, or when you are reviewing your notes after class. Use symbols that make sense to you that you will remember later. Exclude unnecessary words. And above all else, rewrite your notes as soon as possible. If you can't do it that day, make sure you rewrite your notes before the next class period. Also, professors generally give reading assignments to build background information for upcoming classes. If you actually read this material, you'll be better prepared to take good notes from the lecture. Research has proven that students that read their assignments and take notes eventually spend less time studying for tests and have better results. I hope you'll use the Cornell note-taking system, and if you need any other assistance, you can visit the Academic Center for Excellence on the 3rd floor TMB, and my staff and I will be more than happy to help.